Hello everyone and welcome back to Mounties Midweek. I'm Drew Patrick. On today's show, we review the past 2 weeks. As you were relaxing, Mansfield Athletes were putting in work. Plus, we officially put the bow on the winter season with the first round of Play of the Winter. Let us venture back to March 2nd. The women's basketball team had their final game of the season as they welcomed Cheney. Early in the game, Erin Gibbons for 3. Later on in the game, she sets up Mia Leonard for the bucket. Leonard had a double-double on the day, and Gibbons, she just kept feeling it from beyond the arc. The 3 there, and then later in the game, one more just for some good measure. The Mounties close out the season with the win by a score of 75-56. Erin Gibbons finished with a career-high 26 points. The baseball team had 2 trips in the past couple of weeks. The first trip was to Glenville State in West Virginia, and the first match was against the host school. Evan McAndrew pitched 5 solid innings, and the Mounties opened the season with a victory. The second match was against Concord University, and a tough start doomed Mansfield, the final score 6-1. The second trip was to North Carolina for the D2 Challenge versus Cancer. The Mounties took on Pace for their first match and St. Thomas Aquinas in the second. Mansfield just couldn't find the bats in those 2 matches and dropped both. First one 5-0, second one 10-2. The third match of the challenge was Findlay, and it was a mammoth of a game. Solid pitching by Tyler Gaidos and Hunter DePrimo, but it ended up tied at the end of 9 innings, and Bryce Zaprzinski had to pitch an incredible 8 more innings, but still the game wasn't over. Finally, after 18 innings, Findlay ended up getting the victory, beating the Mountaineers. And in the final 2 games, Mansfield met the College of St. Rose, and the Mounties dropped the first match 14-7 and ended the trip with a 6-3 victory and a dominant performance from pitcher Billy Gregory. The baseball team is back in action Friday as they travel to Chestnut Hill. The softball team had 8 games in North Carolina. They started with back-to-back games against the University of Michigan Dearborn, and the season opener went Mansfield's way with a score of 7-5. The score flipped for Game 2 with Dearborn winning by that same score. Mansfield took the next 4 of 5, including wins against Penn State Schuylkill, Chestnut Hill, and Barton College twice, before dropping a game to West Virginia Tech. They then met Chestnut Hill College again, and Alexis Easling was dealing. She goes complete game no-no. It is the first no-hitter for Mansfield since 2013, and it was actually Coach Edith Gallagher's 450th win in her career. Here was Easling after the game.
Honestly, I had no idea until I thought about the very last batter, but I was just convinced that I just needed to finish the game and do what I had to do.
Mansfield University's Joelle Snyder was named PSAC Central Athlete of the Week, with Alexis Easling picking up Pitcher of the Week after their extraordinary performances by the duo in Myrtle Beach. For more information, head to GoMounties.com. Here is what is upcoming this week for Mansfield Athletics. Do not go anywhere. We're going to take a break. Sports Talk is on the other side.
close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to North Central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC Susquehanna.
Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Oh, what a play!
18 universities.
How competitive is this?
23 championships.
It's over. We have new PSAC champs.
7,100 student athletes. Make the PSAC yours.
My PSAC is passion.
My PSAC is pride.
PSAC is Pennsylvania.
Passion, pride, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
From court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Welcome back here to More Mounties Midweek. Let's talk softball as we are now in full swing of the spring sports. It doesn't feel like spring outside, but we are in full swing. I'm joined by the two coaches here of the softball team. Thank you both so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So this past week, spring break, everyone was resting. You guys were out putting in work down in South Carolina. How important and what are your main focuses of these weeks when you get to travel and really be away from campus and just focus on the craft?
We're just looking to get out and get reps to, compete, to get in game situations and get ready for conference. So that's basically what we're doing. And we can't do it here because of the field, so you travel till you can play here.
So let's talk about those first couple games. Michigan, Dearborn. Well, after a couple of weather issues there, the first one, Dearborn. Let's talk about that first matchup. What did you see that first time everyone was able to get out there and really play the game?
Well, the field was definitely an issue, and it was definitely an issue for the pitchers. I thought Stack and the pitchers did a great job. It was a slog. I mean, it was a mud pit to play through on day one, and so you saw some miscues by our defense simply because of conditions, and I thought we did a good job of facing those adversities and getting through them, and getting great pitch calls at certain times and big outs when we needed them to get around some situations with runners, and really just getting the first game under your belt, getting the nerves of day one behind us and just being ready to go.
And Stack, what did you see from the pitching staff, those first couple games? Of course, that second one got away from us a little bit there. But what were some of the things in those first couple games that stood out for you?
Well, like Coach G said, just putting your cleats on for the first time and pitching through soft dirt. I mean, that was difficult coming out of the gym, but I was really proud of the pitching staff for adjusting. We used those first few games to kind of learn them as pitchers, especially some of the rookies that we haven't seen in game action before. But we did a great job of sticking to our fundamentals, working ahead against batters and throwing strikes, so I was really proud of them.
So then Penn State Schuylkill, that's a game you guys went into and won in quick fashion there, a shortened game there, 16 runs in that. In a game like that where things are working very, very well, and especially early on in the season, what are the key things for you guys to watch?
The key things is that you don't play down to somebody else's level, that you keep your own level of competitiveness and you just kind of find different things to work on. And it was a great chance for us to get some other people into the game that hadn't been in the first two games. So that was important to us to try and get some other people adjusted to some at-bats or fielding or pitching, whatever it was. So that's the biggest thing. Just keep your intensity level and keep pushing. And
then the first Chestnut Hill, after multiple moves because of the weather. Finally get that first game against Chestnut Hill. What were some of the standouts in that game?
I would say pitching performance was fantastic that game. Like I said, I just couldn't ask more for the staff to come out of the gym the way they did. They did a fantastic job.
That was the first day they had a really good mound to compete on. That was the first day the fields had started to dry out. It was still a little touch wet, but they had started to dry out, so you were starting to be able to really see what they could do. And again, to stay in it defensively, pitching-wise, until we could get those hits. And I think, what did they come in, like the 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th? It was later in the game when we were able to break that open.
And then Barton College, you guys pretty much had every sort of scenario this whole week that you possibly could have. This one, going into extra innings, able to dig out a victory in that one. What were the keys to that series in those 2 games?
Again, Stack used multiple pitchers in that game. They did a great job of keeping us in the game, keeping us in counts. Defense played great, and that was a game we were up. Then we went down, and then we fought back in the 7th to tie it back up. So again, that was just great to see a young team that wants to, they're going to get in there and compete, and they're going to keep after it. So that was really important. And then to get around some things in the extras till we could get to the tiebreaker. And then we made a miscue in the tiebreaker, and then we luckily got away with it and scored 2 runs there. When you score 2 in the tiebreaker, that's crucial. One is easy to tie up, but when you score that second run, that's really crucial in the tiebreaker. So, and I'll let Stack speak to the pitchers in that game.
I just think composure was a big factor throughout the week, but that game especially, and just keeping our cool and focusing on the little things during the process allowed us to stay in that game and pull out the win.
Then the next one, West Virginia Tech. That was a game that really it got away, and that was really the first game that things didn't really work. How important, actually, that you guys have mentioned the young team, that when things don't go their way, they're able to respond. Obviously, you never want to say a loss is a good thing, but what are some of the things you can take away from a team finally, like when things aren't working?
When things aren't working?
When things aren't.
Well, we did a great job. We had come off the extended inning game the game before, switched fields, and we had done a great job of defensively and pitching-wise staying in that game. Offensively, we didn't make adjustments early enough in that game, and we should have had some runs on the board. They made some clutch plays. They made 2, diving stops of some great line drives that would have scored runs, but we gave them way too many fly balls. Their pitcher did a good job of mixing up speeds, and it was a learning experience for us. But again, that team fought back in the 7th, and we were trying to get that tying run to the plate, and we ended up needed that another out.
And then, of course, really the cherry on top of that whole break, that final game, the good old no-no. When you have a freshman pitcher who's really pitching in her first week of collegiate softball, able to throw a no-hitter, how does that make you guys feel?
Very proud. It was a fantastic game. She was dealing right from the first inning, just complete composure, control. Her defense did a great job backing her up all day. So it was kind of one of those where you just float through the game and you're not really realizing what's happening till toward the end. And I thought she did a great job staying composed and finishing it out.
That was like the epitome of the week too, because on day 1, she doesn't finish her game. On day 5, she not only finishes her game, but stays composed enough to throw the no-hitter at the end, and that's where the defense came. Day 1, the defense is making 4 mistakes behind the pitcher. Day 5, they're coming up with big plays to keep that a no-hitter. So that's the growth of the week that was really great for the whole team.
And obviously when it's happening, I know there's that superstition, you don't want to mention it because as soon as you mention it, it goes away. When was the point that you realized, oh, this could happen, but I don't want to say anything?
Well, everybody got to that point at a different time, but the dugout didn't realize it, which is what helped.
It was a good
And
thing.
I don't think the parents in the park, no one kind of realized what was going on until Mac in the 7th came out and started videoing and everything started happening then. And that's when even Lexi started to realize, and you know, that last hit was pretty well hit and Allie had to go get it. But Stack, of course, had realized it earlier, but the dugout not realizing it helped us there.
Yeah. You know, during the game, we had planned on doing sort of a pitch by committee just to get it some more opportunities. And like I said, she was dealing from inning 1. So I just kept the bullpen ready, kept it moving, you know, just normal protocol, just trying to keep it level-headed in the dugout. And I'll tell you what, the athletes in the dugout with me running those charts, they did a fantastic job. Shay Marks was next to me telling me what each batter did, what she saw, what she hit well. That information is key in those situations.
And her performance, Alexis's performance, as well as Joelle Snyder's this week, and then last week or the first couple of games, Cassidy Smith, you guys have had athletes appear on the PSAC Athlete of the Week. Those three, I mean, we mentioned Alexis, but Joelle and Cassidy, what were some of the things they did this week that really got them to earn those recognitions?
Well, pitchers and hitters are a little different. So, you know, pitching, obviously, you throw a no-no, you deserve player of the week. But the other two, the hitters did a good job of having, you know, quality at bats and coming through in key situations when they needed to, and just really, you know, keeping things simple. And you know, they had a great week at the plate. So they, you know, and Joelle came through with a couple of key hits, and Cass did on the first couple days to get those awards. But, you know, you got to have a team no matter what. So individual awards are great, but your teammates helped get that.
So let's talk about the week then now as a whole, looking back at it. We broke down each individual game, but some of the bats that came alive and got important hits, what were some of the things that really stood out from the batters as a whole on the game, and some things that you're like, all right, we need to improve on? What was your takeaway from the bats?
Well, we did a little of everything. So, you know, one player isn't going to be hot all the time. And so you would see in the first couple of games, we had a couple of hitters that were, you know, doing well and a couple that, you know, were struggling a little at the plate. And then the end of the week, it kind of turned around and some people had better at-bats towards the end of the week. We worked a lot on, you know, pitch selection, quality at bats, and having confidence in when we get into the batter's box. And then our slapper, bunter, chaos crew there did a great job of just getting that ball on the ground and making the other teams, you know, have to field it and get them out. They are quick, so you have to be on top of your game to get them out if they get that ball on the ground. So we were able to combine a couple of, you know, different, you know, the power with the speed and the bunts, and I thought that the offense did a great job of kind of mixing that all up, and we had quality at bats. You know, it was the Chestnut Hill game, I think, when Alex Hine came off the bench and did a pinch sack bunt that ended up, she beat it out. It was such a great bunt with, you know, the defense right in her face. So that's where the offense just did a great job. Whoever was at the bat, and in the moment we needed, they were doing the skills that we needed, and they did a good job.
And speaking of the bats and the pitchers, you had some bats come alive from the pitchers. A couple of home runs that sent you guys swimming a little bit. I had a chance to see that video of you guys with the no-hitter and then the home run in that game, jumping into a pool, I'm guessing at the hotel you guys were staying in. Before we break down the pitchers, just that, let's talk about when you're able to have a team moment like that where you were mentioning before we went on that it started out as a joke and then it became a reality. But those kind of moments, what is so special about those kind of moments when you can have those with your team?
Well, we were just trying to have some fun. It was the last game. You know, the pressure was ramping up, so it was about in the 5th
0-0 ball game.
0-0 ball game at that point. and you're just trying to kind of lighten the mood and just like, let's just have some quality bats. Let's just, it's spring break. This is a great game. We're having fun. And, I just made a little challenge. And like I said, it was a very, very high fence there. So it was a monster home run. And then with the no-hitter, Stack and I just decided we would both go in and, just some fun team moments during the week. And it wasn't too bad. It wasn't the worst polar plunge ever.
So let's talk about those pitchers. There's a lot of youth, a lot of new faces, but also some of the familiar faces who performed. Ari Young, Connor Decker, some of the faces that we're familiar with. What were some of the things that you noticed and really stood out to you, and some of the things that you can look at and say, all right, there's still room for improvement?
Well, like I said, we spent a lot of the week just trying to figure out some of the freshman pitchers, how long are they able to go in the game? At what pitch count are they starting to get tired? Are they able to be composed and finish their games when the pressure's on? Things like that. So we did a great job of, I guess, figuring that out pretty quickly, because by the end of the week we were really comfortable with our rotation. Some things to improve on, there's always room for improvement, just cutting down pitch counts, working on staying composed and pitching outs in those big moments. Bases are loaded, they're starting to hit you a little bit. So we're going to keep moving forward, keep focusing on our fundamentals, because we did a great job coming into the week with that, really slowing down our changeup, really spinning our movement pitches. So I was really proud of them and their form. And you look back at the pictures and you're starting to see some big improvements.
So this week, you start moving a little bit more north from spring break as you guys travel to Delaware for Goldie Beacom. What do you expect from that team, and what are the things you're looking out for this team?
Well, I don't know what we expect from that team, but what we expect from our team is to continue to build from where we were at. We were at a great point when we left spring break, got in the weight room right away yesterday. We will have a big week of practice, getting back to your academics, getting adjusted to the clock change, like all those things, and then getting back on the road Saturday night to play that Sunday doubleheader. So just starting to get into that routine of this is what happens when we get into conference play. You travel on a Saturday, travel on a Sunday. So getting them a little bit routinized at home, and working around our weather here and trying to get some time and just stay in that competitive game mode.
Do you guys really look at these first couple games as because the field right now still has a water on it, so you really don't have a lot of time to go down to the field. You use the turf at times, and you use the basketball court, but to get that on-field experience with these early games, is that really the focus? Obviously, I think we've talked about this. Obviously, you want to win every game that you're in, but the primary focus of being able to get on the field, how important is that? Especially for the pitchers, to see a live batter in a live circumstance.
It's extremely important, and we're fortunate enough to have a really nice pre-conference schedule that I think will prepare us very well. And just being out there and learning to compete throughout the game, that the game's not over till it's done. Whether we're up or behind, it doesn't matter. And I've really enjoyed watching this team grow up over the last week and just getting out there wanting it. It's really nice to see. But yeah, there's nothing like being out on the dirt and in your cleats and reading balls off the dirt, in the air, dealing with umpires, all of those things we don't get on a daily basis at practice. So I think it's crucial to help prepare us for the conference.
The big thing too is people forget academically, spring break is great because we don't have academics every day. They get to focus on softball, and it's just eat, play softball, sleep. That's it. That's our week. And do they get some study in? Yes. So these next 2 weeks, you have to adjust to softball academics, your study table time, your all of that, and your softball. So now you have to figure out how to fit that all in when you're sore, tired. riding the bus back Sunday night from Delaware. Like, how do you mix that with your academics and get up for your 8:30? So that's the next 2 weeks. What they have to learn is how softball fits with their academic schedule.
I always said you can tell an athlete with their time management if they're going to be focused or not focused. Well, thank you both so much for stopping by here.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
As I've gone through school, I've been trying to pay off my tuition as I go, and it wouldn't have been possible without the help of the Mansfield Foundation.
I mean, the Mansfield Foundation already helped me a lot. As of right now, I don't have any school debt whatsoever, and I know the Mansfield Foundation has definitely helped with all the scholarships that I've received over the years for that.
The Mansfield Foundation has helped me out several times throughout my college career. They have helped keep my finances intact.
If you have any sort of instincts, you can get a feel of good people and bad people. Like, the people at the foundation are as straightforward as they come.
It's all part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county, scenic, outdoor haven, conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here, offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
Welcome back to Mounties Midweek. Let's continue now to talk softball as we have some of the players here with us, Cassidy Smith and Alexis Easling. Thank you both so much for stopping by.
Yep.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So this past week, spring break, everyone else was relaxing and you guys are out there getting ready to do some work, and you guys did down there. Let's start with you, Alexis. Your first couple games, what did you see in your first collegiate games?
Not gonna lie, I was a little nervous going out, but one thing that I do know is you need to be confident on the mound, and you need to be ready out there. You need to have the confidence in yourself out there so that way you can help your team in the best way possible. So I was trying to get my confidence and make sure that I was ready and able to help the team in the best way possible.
And not your first rodeo here, but to get back into the swing of things, how did that feel?
It felt great. It's been I had a rough start to my college career, but put in work this summer and finally got to show them what I have. So.
And hey, it worked that first week. You were up for player of the week in the PSAC. Seeing that, and we'll get to you this past week, getting that honor. But coming back and in that first week, able to get that honor, how did that feel?
Oh, that was pretty awesome. It showed that my hard work finally paid off, so it's good to see.
So just about every type of game that you guys possibly could have had happened in this week. There was some extra innings, and we'll get to the no-hitter, and just everything. So those first couple of games, after the weather finally cooperated and you got those in, what did you see from those University of Michigan Dearborn games?
I think it was good competition. That was one thing that I know Coach G really wanted to see down there. I think it was it allowed us to visualize ourselves as a team and finally put ourselves on the field, and then see how we all need to cooperate together.
They put the ball in play and made us make outs, and we put the ball in play and did the same pressure on them. So,
and I think that also it showed us how we can work together and we can do it, and it showed us like our potential for the upcoming season.
And to finally be able to get on to the field, because obviously here the weather hasn't been cooperating, to say the least, but you've gotten on the turf and then worked out up in the gym. But to get on to the field with the cleats on, how important is that?
Really, like the ball, like reading the ball on grounders is different. The lighting is completely different compared to the gym. So like seeing the ball out of the pitcher's hand is different. Like everything just changed when you like actually stepped out on the field.
yeah, the balls bounce different or don't bounce at all. Like the first couple of games, the ground was really soft because it was wet. So there was like no give with it. So you had to really stay down on the ball.
Is there sort of strategy, and really for both angles of pitching and hitting, when the weather isn't the best and when the field conditions aren't the best, is there a certain type of strategy you guys kind of look at it as?
I think it's all like softball's a really big mental game, so it's all about being able to make the adjustments given whatever situation you're put in. So maybe sometimes the mound isn't the perfect like dirt hardness, I guess you could say, but like it's something that you just need to work through. So.
And when I'm in the box, I just try to put the ball in play, and when the ground is really soft, maybe putting the ball on the ground, make them charge the ball and stay down on it.
And Alexis, you maybe had the perfect start to the career, also with the bat able to get one over.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Honestly, I didn't realize it was going over until I got about to second base, but it was nice. It was a great way to help myself, and not only that, but like help the team and just showcase some of my talents and maybe show even more how I need to like work harder or provide more. So
a good pitcher's revenge is always being able to hit one on your side. So going on through the games, then let's talk about that extra inning game and some of the other ones there. To stay focused in the extra innings game and having to battle back, what were the keys?
I think that when we're in the box, you just got to keep the right mindset, and you're here for a purpose, and you need to put the ball in play and move runners. Or like in that extra innings, I got walked. I had a long at bat and I got walked, but I just knew I had to get on base somehow. So whatever you can do.
Absolutely, able to battle back in that one. And then now let's talk about the no-hitter. Obviously, when a no-hitter happens, I know that dugouts, you don't want to mention it. You don't want to say anything. Did you realize it was happening when it was happening?
I actually didn't realize until the very last batter. So the very last batter, actually, the first pitch was a ball, because that was when I realized. So prior to that pitch, I was sitting there, I was like, I did pretty well, I think. And I was like, has anyone even gotten on base? So then I was like, no, I think I have a no-hitter. And I was like, perfect game. And I was like, oh no, I walked the one girl, but like that's why the first pitch was a ball. But I was like, okay, that's when I finally settled in. I was like, I need to finish this. So.
What is the challenge of that, though? That as soon as you realize that, oh, this could happen, what do you have to do to get yourself focused and ready to attack the batter?
One thing that I do personally is I always pick a spot way out above center field. So the team normally makes fun of me for it, but they'll catch me out there staring for maybe like a good 5 seconds in between each pitch, just to like really settle in and focus, and just again have that confidence to be like, I'm going to pitch this ball, it's going to be a strike, and I'm going to try and strike you out. So that's.
And really in the dugout and on the field, when you realize this, and you obviously don't want to be the person to be like, hey guys, guess what? Because that always ends with it being broken. But what do you have to do to stay focused in the field there and also in the dugout?
I just go out there and with the focus of getting outs and getting back in to get up to bat and put the ball in play. So I honestly didn't know she was throwing a no-hitter until they came out with for an interview. So I had no idea. Nobody talked about it, so I had no idea.
Yeah, there wasn't really a rushing the mound.
No one knew. I don't think anybody knew.
Megan McGinley came in because Deshae Jones pulled a quad. So Megan McGinley came in at third, and she got the very first batter. That ball grounder got hit to her at third base. And she told me after the game, she was like, thinking back, I was like, oh my goodness, I could have really blown that. But honestly, I didn't know. But I think that's like the really important thing is like maybe, I mean, getting so focused in the game and just like throwing your pitches and making sure that you're pitching outs that are capable for your team to, like obviously, like I couldn't have done that without the team. Like they were hitting the ball, so like they made the outs for me.
So as a pitcher, you really kind of want to have a short-term memory, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what are the keys to having a successful day? Obviously, that is the most successful day you can maybe have, other than maybe not a walk in that game. But what are the keys to get yourself? You mentioned staring off into center field, but what are the keys to calm down and go into the game and say a game isn't going in your way, to kind of bring it back around and keep pitching?
So one thing for me is not only is it like the staring, like I mentioned, but also being able to be there and like support your team. So maybe like in that no-hitter, I really did not perform well at the plate, but at the same time, I did have a pinch hitter hit for me, Shay Marks, who hit the ball. She got a single, and at that point, I'm like, yes, like that's what I need. It's not necessarily putting myself, but it's also like saying my teammates are here and they're going to help me also like accomplish this goal. So knowing one, you're not alone is a really important thing. And then on top of that, like I said, confidence in, like you mentioned, short-term memory loss. So this is very much a game where the coaches say it all the time, you're going to fail most of the time, but like 3 out of 10 times that the play is successful. So I think that, like, I had a coach and he told me the pitchers that care the most are the ones that care the least. So like you really just don't, like if you throw a ball or you walk a batter, you have to forget about it and move on to the next thing and be ready to go.
So leaving this week, what are some of the things you guys can build confidence-wise on a successful week away from campus?
I think we hit well. The whole team put the ball in play, and we had some good hits. And I think our pitching staff is pretty stout this year, so that's definitely a positive.
I would agree with that. I think that one thing that was very nice is on the mound. I always knew that the team would provide like some form of batting or hits and runs as long as I could hold out long enough for them to do that at least. So that was very nice.
And now back into the swing of things, classes start up again. Do you expect, because obviously with spring break and with that week, it's really a week to focus primarily on softball. Now, obviously you don't want to say distractions, but because you don't want to say your education is a distraction, but you have that other things that you have to really focus on throughout the year. What are the challenges of now bringing that back into the equation?
Softball for me has always been in a form of like kind of an escape, I want to say. So like when you get on the field or at practice, that's a time where you don't even need to think about academics. So like as long as you're doing your work off the field and you're making sure you're getting your grades are up, like your homework's done, you're ahead on schedule, for the most part, like balancing the two is not complicated at all. Just, yeah, and it's kind of like a time where you're like, yep, this is me and 22 other girls and we're here doing something we love. So
you got to be in the moment. So like when you're there, everything else is away.
Yeah.
So this weekend, start making your way a little more north in Delaware, Goldie Beacom. What do you expect from that game from yourselves?
Towards the end of the week of spring break, I didn't hit as well as I did in the beginning, so I'm hoping to get some hits in this weekend. So.
I also really want to work at myself on the plate. I think that is one place that I definitely need to improve. And just obviously during the no-hitter, I was very efficient, so I want to make sure that I can keep that efficiency up, a low pitch count. So, yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for stopping by here.
Yep, thank you.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
Part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven, conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here, offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves. Our vision, our heart, our drive to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub. With exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours. The home of Division II college sports.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's switch gears now and talk baseball as we are joined by 2 members of the baseball team, Eric Sr. and Billy Gregory. Thank you both so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us. No problem.
So let's talk about these past couple of weeks, the break time, but you guys were working. Let's start with the Glenville State tournament. First, those first couple games, How did it feel to finally be able to lace up the cleats, get on to an actual field, and get those first couple of games?
Well, it's nice to be able to go down south and get out of the cold a little bit and play a couple of games before our field's ready, and go down and take one out of two and get snowed out in the third one. Well, we thought that was a pretty decent weekend.
Yeah, how about that? Getting snowed out in that game. It kind of sucks though, because you guys were up in that game. It only went 3 innings, but unfortunately doesn't count on the schedule. But in that first week, what were some of your takeaways? What were some of the things you guys were looking out for, especially with your first time this year on the diamond?
Well, on a pitching standpoint, we wanted to see exactly what we had in our staff, and I think we saw a lot of that in the first weekend. Evan goes out and throws 7 great innings against Glenville State, and our bullpen comes in, shuts the door just like we wanted it to, and then of course Gaidos comes out and throws the first 3 innings on Sunday, and he looked absolutely phenomenal. So we're real happy to see what them two are going to do come conference play.
And then
I think hitting wise, I think everyone just wanted to get some live at bats on the field. It's been since last season, so it's a long while, and then see how the bats are coming. And I think we're doing pretty well for that, especially for the first week. We're doing pretty good.
And then I got a little bit warmer, not much warmer as you expected, but a little bit warmer for the past week. Able to really just focus on the baseball, no academics. Does that help, like in the week when you can really just your primary focus be on baseball?
Oh, spring break is awesome for us. Past couple of years we get to go down to Florida. Didn't get to do it this year. We go down to North Carolina, get 5 games in against some unbelievably tough competition, and that just gets us ready and gets us prepared for conference play.
Yeah, one of the games that really stood out in there, of course, that just monster of a game against Finley, 18 innings. Have you ever been a part of a game like that?
No, not that long.
10, 11 maybe, we get the playoffs in Legion Ball or high school ball or something, but never 18.
Nope.
What do you have to do to stay focused in a game that goes that long and you guys are getting tired? You're pretty much playing 2 full games, like major league full games. What is the hardest part to stay focused in a game like that?
Well, you go out there every inning and it's just kind of like a repeat of the same thing. So I know that when I would go out in the outfield, I'd talk to other guys and say, all right, let's just do the same thing again. We're not letting them score. No doubles at first. Then we're like, if there's a guy on base, we got to get the lead runner out because otherwise the game's going to be over if he ends up scoring. And then we'd get through like 2 outs situation again. We're like, okay, now you just got to catch the ball no matter where it's at, or you got to throw the guy out no matter where he is. And then the inning ends and you come back out and literally repeat the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Rinse and repeat. Obviously that game, though, not ended in the way that we would have wanted. What do you then have to do mentally to prepare for the next game? You just had this marathon of a game and it didn't go your way. What do you have to do to get that out of your brain?
I think that, although we didn't have the result that we wanted, it showed us a lot that we were able to just stick in there and just keep going at it. And we were right there the whole time. There was basically anyone could have won that game at that point. If you're, 9 innings, no runs for either side, like that's just good. That's good baseball right there. And I think it shows a lot. So going into the next game, even though it wasn't the result we wanted, we're definitely like, hey, we're up there. We can play. We can compete. Our pitching's good. Our hitting's coming. Everything was kind of working.
Preparing for the double headers that you guys are going to have throughout the year, how does the 18-inning game early in the season help? Because you're gonna pretty much have long straight innings with maybe a little break in between the games. But how does that help looking forward?
To play 18 innings straight and to see how much fire our guys had, and we send a guy like Bryce out there who pitched the day before. And, he was only asked to go an inning or 2. He goes 8, 9 innings, I think, and just shuts the door every time in, time out. And we feed off of that, and especially in conference play, we're going to feed off of that too. First game we don't get a result we want. The second game we know somebody's going to go out there and give us the best chance to win. And in that sense, we were looking for a guy who was going to give us the best chance to win. And with the 9 guys we had on the field, we thought we had a chance to win that baseball game every day.
So then the final game of the break, you're able to go out there, pitch a great game, and get a victory in there to end the trip. How important is it to leave there with a little bit of momentum that way? You mentioned it was tough competition that you guys were in there day in and day out, and this conference also has very good teams and tough competition. So to be able to leave that with momentum, how important was that?
Oh, it's extremely important. Sunday we were, let's face it, after 18 innings and 4 games, we didn't have much of a pitching staff left. And Coach Salata came up to me and he said, I hope you're ready to go deep because we only got one real fresh guy behind you in DePerno. So that was just my mindset to go out and face a great school like St. Rose and just try to get as deep into the ball game as I could and give us a chance to win. And well, luckily I got 6 1/3 and DePerno came in and closed the door, and we were able to come back here with a heck of a lot of momentum to play Chestnut Hill next weekend.
And in that game, you were able to get the bat going.
Yeah, I think once again in that game, that really showed that our hitting was coming around. I think we ended the game with like 13 or so hits. I'm not exactly sure, but that just shows that like in the beginning of the season, we weren't hitting as well, but now our bats are coming around, our pitching's coming together. So I think looking forward at the rest of the season, we got a pretty good shot.
So let's look at this team as a whole. It's a fairly young team, and you guys, as the upperclassmen, have to be really the leaders of this group. With this young team, what are the things that you noticed in their growth?
Well, the first thing you got to notice is, we started our spring season off with 3 freshman outfielders, and then they're thrown right into the fire right away, and that's great to see that them guys, they go out and they stepped up. Guys like Dakota Fitzgerald comes out. He's a very big speed threat. He goes out and gets a couple hits. Britton Shander, he goes from the outfield to the infield, makes a couple great plays. Jake Haas jumps right into the fire. All 3 of them guys are going to be key pieces for us this year, and to see that they were able to perform at the college level as freshmen, that just gives us a world of confidence.
And especially knowing that you have the young players behind you when you're pitching, how crucial is that confidence in your group behind you? That way you really can think about one less thing.
Oh, without a doubt. The guys that we have behind us pitchers, we have every bit of confidence in them guys. I know, especially in the St. Rose game, I'm not really a strikeout guy. The ball gets put into play quite a bit off of me. So to know that whatever gets hit into the field and that they're going to make a play, it just gives me all the confidence in the world to go out. And if I miss a spot, and a guy does hit me around a little bit, that they're going to make a play for me and they're going to pick me up when I make a mistake.
So now moving on, as you mentioned, the next one on the schedule is Chestnut Hill. Now you get back into the swing of things with classes coming back, and is there any change of the mindset when, like I said, for spring break, and you guys said that you had just time to focus on just baseball. Now you bring academics back into the fold. What is the key to balancing that and using time management to balance that kind of academic and focusing on the baseball?
It's tough. Coach Hilson tells us all the time that don't schedule too many classes on Fridays because you're not going to be there. So it's tough to manage, practice, weightlifting, getting your own work in, missing classes, and then have to worry about, who are we facing this weekend? What do we have to do to prepare? What do they look like? What did they do last weekend? So it is a lot to balance, but our guys do a pretty decent job of balancing everything out and making sure that we're ready to play on the weekend.
Yeah, you about said it all there. On them rainy days, though, I always like to take advantage of them rainy days. Like, you're not really doing much of anything, just nothing to do outside, so try to get ahead on your grades, and I think a bunch of the other guys do the same thing on that.
So with Chestnut Hill, what do you expect in that game? A bit of a rest before that game. What do you expect from you guys and from them?
I think that they'll be a good test for the rest of the season. I know that they are a pretty good team down there. I think they'll also bring us up to like the Pennsylvania weather for baseball. So it says it's going to be a little warmer this weekend, but you never know. It'll just kind of get us into like the commuting to games and whatnot, like we will be the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a good test for our pitching staff. Like Eric said, they're a decent ball club, so we're going to get to see what our pitchers are made of. It's still, we're going to have, I'm pretty sure, a 9-inning game on Friday and then 2 7s on Saturday. So we're going to need all hands on deck to really get through this weekend and get us ready for Westchester the following weekend.
All right, well, thank you both so much for stopping by here.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Oh, what a play!
18 universities.
How competitive is this?
23 championships.
It's over. We have new PSAC champs.
7,100 student athletes. Make the PSAC yours.
My PSAC is passion.
My PSAC is pride.
PSAC is Pennsylvania.
Passion, pride, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven conveniently located, yet worlds apart. A place where you can kick back, unwind, and forget about the pressures of life. Disconnect and reconnect with your friends, family, or even yourself while surrounded by nature's beauty. So start planning your adventures today at visitpottertioga.com.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Play of the Winter is back. We took the 7 winners of Play of the Week in this season, plus a brand spanking new play, are up in the bracket. For complete play breakdown and voting, head over to Twitter at Mountie All Access. And results will be revealed for this round next week. Make sure you go there to vote. That's all we have for you this week. To stay up to date on all things Mansfield Athletics, head over to GoMounties.com. We will see you next week.